Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. I rise as the Vice Chair of the California Legislative LGBTQ Caucus and a member of the Jewish Caucus in support of ACR 176, recognizing Yom HaShoah. Today, we again remember the victims and the survivors of anti-Semitic and discriminatory targeted abuses carried out by the Nazi government. Among those targeted, persecuted, and harmed alongside the Jewish community, LGBTQ people also fell victim to the atrocities committed during the Holocaust. Hitler and the Nazi Party targeted gay men because they believed that they were, quote, unfit to defend the nation in combat and would diminish our reproductive potential. In concentration camps, LGBTQ victims were kept in separate facilities for the fear that homosexuality would spread to other prisoners. Other heinous state-sponsored abuses against LGBTQ individuals included medical experimentation, disappearances, imprisonment, sexual abuse, torture, and murder. Even after the war, the Allies, Germany, and surrounding countries refused to recognize LGBTQ prisoners as victims of the Nazi regime, a status essential for restitution. Even worse, many LGBTQ victims were forced to continue to serve their arbitrary prison sentences. During the Holocaust, homosexuals were forced to wear the pink triangle, the LGBTQ equivalent of the yellow Jewish star. Now, we reclaim and uplift the pink triangle as a symbol of perseverance, which I, alongside members of our caucus, proudly wear on the floor today. And on a more personal note, we will soon recognize two survivors that reside in my county, Mike and Manya Wallenfels. Manya and her family were one of the few from Busk, Poland, now part of modern-day Ukraine, to have survived the Holocaust. When Manya's ghetto was invaded by German soldiers, she recalls hiding in the attic and stables as she fled. Mike and his family were forced to move into Jewish-only apartments when the Germans moved into Hungary. As Hungarian Nazis gathered families that were living inside Mike's building, his mother instructed him to hide in the attic and not come out. However, Mike and his sister were eventually forced into a ghetto strictly for children. Mike and Manya later met in Hungary as neighbors whose families knew each other, where they would go on to get married. Words cannot explain the resiliency it took for them to survive the systemic abuses and the oppression that they experienced. I'm forever grateful for them and applaud the work they do to support our Jewish community in San Diego and educate others of the struggles that they and other survivors of the Holocaust endured, speaking at schools or through online forums so that we don't forget or repeat these atrocities. Now it's more than ever, it's imperative that we spread awareness of the stories of all those persecuted in the Holocaust, especially whose names, faces, and stories we will never know. As we acknowledge the Holocaust as a time in history, we must also recognize that hate is still alive and present in modern-day society, and thus reaffirm our commitment to combating anti-Semitism, anti-Islamophobia, homophobia, transphobia, racism, and hate. Above all, we must continue to stand in solidarity with all communities to collectively fight against anyone who claims that their identity is supreme and for a free, equitable, and safe society for all.